Dr. Parag Khanna is an economist who continues to shape our understanding of complex issues in a rapidly changing world. I asked him to discuss the outbreak of novel coronavirus because one of the problems with health is that not enough people recognize its impact on every aspect of our lives. I called Parag in Singapore, and this is what unfolded. You wrote the book, The Future is Asian. Can the future be Asian at a time when it can't manage its own disease, epidemics and pandemics fully?
The question fundamentally is resilience. We all face financial crises, pandemics, cyber attacks, and so forth. Obviously, natural disasters as well that are afflicting so many parts of the world. The question is, how quickly do you bounce back? And if Asia can demonstrate here that it will handle the coronavirus better than SARS, if the number of cross-border infections can be kept to a minimum, if public health institutions can manage and have the capacity to deal with the fallout, then I don't think that this is somehow a dent on Asia.
Your other book, Connectography, explores the inner muscles that link us together as a world. Is it this interconnectedness, though, that has aided or accelerated the rapid spread of this virus? And with China as what we believe to be the source of this outbreak, is it ready for an interconnected world?
Well, China is deeply, deeply interconnected with the world, and that part of it is obviously evidenced by how quickly the virus has spread outside of China. And again, how the ripple effects in supply chains, when you think about how Korean and other car manufacturers and even suppliers to Apple, like Foxconn, have had to slow production, and exports have been damaged and so forth. So you see the ripple effects. So China is deeply connected, and the virus situation doesn't illustrate that China is not ready for connectivity. It's just a further evidence that connectivity is a deep responsibility, right? And it's a responsibility that each of us has on both ends of the supply chains that link us. We have a responsibility to be open, to provide redundancy, to generate alternative ways and means of getting goods and services and people from point A to point B. And it's all about balancing flow and friction. You don't want to starve yourself. A country that is saying, absolutely no Chinese people at all are allowed to enter my borders is obviously hurting itself because it's losing a lot of investment and tourism revenue. It should really have a better way of imposing certain frictions to prevent people who may potentially be infected, but not block everyone. And so that's an example of how you would, take a smarter approach to balancing flow and friction.
Here's my last question. When we look at this outbreak that some people say could spiral even further, and when we look ahead, how best do you think we can prepare ourselves for that next global health emergency that will surely come?
It's a great question. Let's remember that they do happen quite regularly. SARS, Ebola, Zika, now coronavirus. This is not abnormal. Same thing with cyber, viruses and attacks and so forth. What happens in all of these cases is actually, quarantining, isolation, public information campaigns, restricting access, moving, to new data servers in the case of cyber attacks, and, developing new remedies, having more cooperation among public health authorities. It's a part of a much broader process of learning how to cooperate in a network fashion, learning to share information very rapidly, surging the resources that are needed to treat victims to the source of the problem as quickly as possible. If we were not, James, getting better and better and better at this, we would literally all be dead right now.
The China Current continues its special coverage on the coronavirus outbreak. Go to our social media at The China Current and our website for interviews, videos, and podcasts. I'm James Chow. Thank you.